Why do the people you care about the most ignore you? Have you ever poured your heart into someone, only to be met with silence? You're always the one who reaches out first, who cares, who shows up. Yet somehow the more you try, the more distant they become. And then comes that painful question, did I do something wrong? Here's the hard truth. The people you love the most are often the ones who ignore you the most. But it's not always because they don't care. In fact, it's just a part of human nature. Today, let's break this down through the lens of Stoicism. By understanding the psychology behind it, you'll learn how to navigate these moments wisely, without losing your peace, your confidence, or your sense of balance. Before we dive in, if you love Stoic philosophy, make sure to subscribe to Stoic Station and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And if you find this helpful, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, type 2. Your feedback helps me improve. Alright, let's get into it. 1. The paradox of familiarity. Distance creates desire. Imagine this. You've just bought your dream car. At first, you're obsessed. You admire it, clean it, and take it everywhere. Every glance fills you with pride. But as time passes, that excitement fades. The car, once special, becomes just another part of your routine. You stop noticing its beauty. The same thing happens in relationships. When someone is always there, it's easy to take them for granted. Familiarity breeds indifference. What once felt precious can become invisible when we stop paying attention. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, nothing lasts forever. If you truly understood that someone could be gone at any moment, you'd appreciate them so much more. So don't wait until it's too late to recognize someone's value. Cherish them now. 2. Love doesn't always have to be loud. It exists in silence. Not all love is loud. Imagine growing up in a home where love wasn't spoken, but shown. Maybe your parents never said, "I love you," but they made sure you were fed, safe, and cared for. That's love, in its quietest, truest form. Everyone expresses love in their own way. Some show it through words, others through actions. A warm meal, a silent helping hand, a presence that never wavers. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Just because someone doesn't love you the way you expect, doesn't mean they don't love you. So step back. See love for what it is, not just how you wish it to be, because sometimes the deepest love is found in silence. 3. Being ignored is a test, not a rejection. Have you ever felt like the person who should care about you the most is the one who ignores you the most? You reach out. No response. You show up, but they seem distant. And suddenly doubt creeps in. Did I do something wrong? Am I not enough? But here's the truth. Being ignored is not always a rejection. Sometimes it's a test. People, whether they realize it or not, often create distance to see how you will respond. Will you panic? Will you beg for their attention? Will you start doubting yourself? Or will you remain calm, unshaken, secure in your own worth? You see, being ignored can be an unconscious way for someone to gauge how much you value yourself. If your happiness crumbles the moment someone pulls away, it sends a message. Your self-worth depends on their validation. But true strength, true inner peace, comes from knowing that your value does not decrease just because someone fails to see it in the moment. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, dwell on the beauty of life instead of wondering why someone is ignoring you. So instead of obsessing over their silence, focus on building a life so rich, so fulfilling, that you don't have time to wonder whether someone notices you or not. Because when you become whole within yourself, when your joy comes from you and not from external validation, suddenly the silence of others loses its power. And that's when the real magic happens. People who once ignored you, they start paying attention. People who took you for granted, they start to miss you. Because confidence, self-respect, and inner peace are magnetic. So the next time you feel ignored, ask yourself, is this rejection, or is this a chance to rise above and prove to myself that I am enough? Because you are. 4. Love doesn't need constant reassurance. Have you ever felt the need to constantly remind someone that you love them, saying, "I love you," over and over, proving your feelings through endless actions, seeking their validation just to feel secure? But pause for a moment and ask yourself, why? Is it because you want to express love? Or is it because you fear that without constant reassurance, the love might disappear? Often the root of this need lies in insecurity. When we doubt our worth or the strength of a relationship, we cling to reassurance like a life raft. We feel the need to prove our love, to hear it mirrored back, just to feel safe. But true love, deep, lasting love, doesn't require constant validation. Think of the sun. It doesn't need to remind you every day that it's there. It simply shines. Love should be the same, steady, strong, unshaken by doubt. Seneca once said, "True strength comes from within." A relationship built on trust doesn't need endless affirmations. It thrives on mutual understanding, quiet confidence, and unwavering presence. So instead of searching for reassurance in others, find peace within yourself. Because when you trust love, when you trust yourself, you no longer need to beg for confirmation. Love is not proven by words alone. It is felt. It is lived. It simply exists. 5. The fear of getting hurt can create distance. Have you ever noticed that the people who care about you the most sometimes pull away, just when you need them? Not because they don't love you, but because love is terrifying. To truly love someone means to be vulnerable, to open your heart and risk being hurt. And not everyone is ready for that. Sometimes people withdraw not because they don't feel deeply, but because they feel too much. They fear that getting too close might expose their own wounds, their own insecurities. They distance themselves, not from you, but from their own emotions. And in those moments, it's easy to take it personally, to assume their silence means they don't care. But more often than not, their distance is not rejection, it's fear. Stoicism teaches that true strength is emotional resilience. It's not about avoiding pain, it's about learning to embrace vulnerability without fear. So when someone pulls away, don't assume the worst, don't chase. Instead, hold space for them. Let them process. Let them return in their own time. Because real love is not about forcing closeness. It's about creating a space safe enough that they can come back, without fear, without pressure, without hesitation. And when they do, it's not distance that wins, it's love. 6. Emotional walls are built from fear, not a lack of love. Sometimes the person who loves you the most is also the one who seems the most distant. Not because they don't care, not because they don't feel, but because they've built walls, not to keep you out, but to protect themselves. Maybe they've been hurt before. Maybe they've loved and lost. Maybe they carry wounds so deep, they fear that if they let someone too close, they'll only end up breaking again. Even in the most profound and genuine relationships, fear has a way of creeping in. It makes people retreat, creating distance not out of rejection, but out of self-preservation. Seneca reminds us, be patient, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle you do not see. So instead of taking their distance personally, try to see it for what it truly is, a defense mechanism, a shield, a silent plea for understanding. Frustration will only make their walls stronger, but patience can soften them. When you meet their fear with empathy, when you show them that you are not here to hurt them, but to stand by them, you help them do something they may not have done in a long time. You help them trust. You help them breathe. You help them see that love does not have to be a battle, it can be a sanctuary. And slowly, piece by piece, the walls around their heart may begin to crumble. Not because you forced them down, but because you proved that love does not always have to be something to fear. 7. Self-reflection, the key to understanding distance. When someone pulls away, the mind immediately races to the worst-case scenario. Did I do something wrong? Are they losing interest? Was I not enough? But what if, just for a moment, you stepped out of your own perspective and into theirs? Because sometimes their distance has nothing to do with you. They might be facing battles you know nothing about. Maybe they're dealing with personal struggles, wrestling with doubts, or trying to navigate a storm within themselves. And in those moments, it's not that they love you less, it's that they need time to find themselves before they can give you the best version of who they are. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we can control how we respond. Instead of reacting emotionally, pulling away in return, demanding answers, or letting insecurity consume you, take a step back, reflect. Ask yourself, am I assuming the worst when there might be a deeper reason for their distance? Is my reaction driven by fear or by understanding? How can I give them the space they need without letting it shake my own sense of worth? Because sometimes the greatest gift you can offer someone is not your presence, but your patience. To let them go through what they need to without pressure, to give them room to grow without fear of losing them, to trust that if the connection is real, space will not break it. It will only make it stronger, and in the process you'll learn something invaluable. That love, in its purest form, is not about possession, but about understanding. And the more you embrace that truth, the more at peace you'll become. 8. Love isn't always unconditional. And that's okay. We like to believe that love is always pure, always selfless, always unconditional. But the truth? Not every expression of love is built on selflessness. Some people don't love you for who you are. They love you for what you provide. They show up when they need something. They disappear when they don't. They may give affection, kindness, and attention, but only when it serves them. And when you realize this, it hurts. It feels unfair. It makes you question the authenticity of the connections in your life. But Seneca reminds us, not all love is unconditional, and that's okay. Because not all relationships are meant to be deep. Not all connections are meant to last. What matters is that you recognize the difference. Don't pour your energy, time, and love into people who only come around when it's convenient for them. Don't chase after those who see you as nothing more than a transaction. Instead, invest in genuine connections, the ones that exist not because of what you offer, but because of who you are. Because real love isn't based on an exchange. It isn't built on conditions. It exists in truth, presence, and sincerity. And once you understand this, you'll stop wasting time on people who were never truly there to begin with. 9. The more you chase, the more they pull away. Have you ever found yourself desperately trying to get someone's attention, only to watch them drift even further away? You text first. You reach out. You try to be more interesting, more available, more everything. But the harder you chase, the colder they become. Why? Because neediness repels, confidence attracts. Think of a butterfly. If you run after it, it flies away. but if you sit still, it may land gently on your shoulder. Relationships work the same way. When you stop chasing love, validation, and approval, you naturally become more attractive to others. Not because you're playing games, but because you've shifted your focus inward. This is the law of reverse effort. The more you grasp, the more things slip through your fingers. But when you let go, when you focus on yourself, when you build a life that is so fulfilling that you don't need to chase, you become magnetic. Because true power, the kind that draws people in, comes from self-assurance, self-respect, and self-control. Stoicism teaches us that when you no longer need external validation, you earn true admiration. So stop chasing, stop proving, stop begging to be seen. Instead, become the kind of person that others want to be around. Not because you're running after them, but because your energy, your confidence, and your peace speak louder than any words ever could. And the right people, they will find their way into your life. You won't have to chase them, because what's meant for you will come effortlessly. 10. The deepest love is the love you give yourself. We spend so much of our lives searching for love. We seek it in relationships, in friendships, in validation from others. But the truth, the most important love you will ever experience, is the love you give yourself. Because no matter how much love someone else gives you, if you don't value yourself, nothing will ever be enough. You will always feel like you're missing something. You will always crave more reassurance, more attention, more proof that you are worthy. And that's a dangerous place to be. Because when your self-worth depends on others, you hand them the power to make or break you. But when you love yourself, you become untouchable. Rejection no longer breaks you. Silence no longer shakes you. Disappointment no longer defines you. Because your worth is no longer something that can be given or taken away. It is yours. It comes from within. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." And the greatest thought you can ever hold is this: I am enough, just as I am. Because when you master the art of self-love, you find something even greater than external validation. You find peace. Regardless of who stays, regardless of who leaves, regardless of how others treat you. Because true power, true freedom, is knowing that you are whole, even when you stand alone. So remember this: love can be complicated, but wisdom is simple. Choose peace, choose self-respect, and above all, choose yourself. Love and distance. A lesson in letting go. Love and human connection aren't just about holding on. Sometimes they're about knowing when to let go. Distance doesn't diminish the value of a relationship. More often than not, it's a test, one that reveals what truly matters. We fear silence in love, don't we? Afraid it means we're being ignored. But maybe, just maybe, it's in those quiet moments that we learn the most about ourselves. A strong relationship doesn't crumble in the absence of constant reassurance. When love is real, it doesn't beg for daily validation, it simply is. Distance isn't always the beginning of the end. Sometimes it's an act of self-preservation, a way to shield a fragile heart or hold on to a sense of self. And we can't blame someone for building walls around their soul, just as we can't force them to love us the way we want. Love isn't a chase. The harder we run after it, the further it drifts. Real love, it's an inner journey, a path where we discover our own worth without needing someone else to define it for us. The greatest lesson in love isn't about keeping someone close. It's about loving yourself so fully that you no longer seek another to complete you. Because in the end, true love isn't found in grand promises of forever. It's in the quiet moments of growth, of understanding, where two souls meet, not out of need, but out of choice. If this video resonates with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep exploring Stoic wisdom together. Timeless principles that can transform the way you see life and face its challenges. Stoicism isn't just a philosophy, it's a way of life. A way of life that makes you stronger, calmer, and unshaken by the things beyond your control. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. See you in the next video.